Hey y'all, Rob here. Just wanted to do a video. It's really hot here and it's raining and I'm drinking hot coffee, so I'm sweaty. Figured I'd just check in. I got a handful of records here. Been really busy this summer, but have had a chance to grab a few things here and there. Hope everybody's well. Hope you like these records I picked out. I'm going in order of when I got them since the last video. I usually post everything I get. First thing, these first two are from when I visited my brother in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon has a ridiculous amount of shops, something like 30 or something like that. We did not spend a lot of time looking for records. We were busy doing other things, but I did get into one or two shops, and I found two albums. First thing, I already have this, but I didn't have a cover. Audience, House on the Hill. This is from 1971, Elektra Records. These guys were kind of rock, psych, folk. Really good stuff. I've talked about them before. I grabbed Van Morrison, his band, and Street Choir. This is 1970, of course. Van Morrison, his output during that time was really good. I mean, from the late 60s for a few years on, he was great. And I'm not an aficionado when it comes to Van Morrison. I just enjoy his music, trying to build my collection of some of his records. And this is great. This has Domino on it, one of his biggest hits. And my girlfriend recommended I grab it, and she was right. Good album. Really feel good album. I like it a lot. Alright, next two albums here are a couple things I just grabbed on Discogs. Used. Elliott Smith, Either Or. Elliott Smith, of course, 90s kind of songwriter, kind of tortured artist type, and he struggled with drugs and depression and schizophrenia, and you can hear it come through in his music, and it's kind of haunting sometimes. I do have more Elliott Smith. This is, of his albums I've listened to, this is the best one. This is great. Either Or. Recommend this if you want to get started on Elliott Smith. Now this one, love this album, Death Cab for Cutie, Narrow Stairs, but the album wasn't quite as stated. I think the guy listed it as a very good plus. I would have not. It's a little scratchier than that, but it was pretty cheap, and it's still listenable. This is one of my favorites of theirs. This is probably their last album that I really enjoyed. This has I Will Possess Your Heart and Kath, one of their best songs. Good stuff. Next up is a pretty big haul I got from one of my local stores a week ago. I think there's 3 new albums, and then the rest are dollar bin stuff, which this is why I go through the dollar bin, some of this stuff I found. Before I show you that, some of the newer albums I bought, This is a new old album, Safe as Milk, Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band. His first album, this is a reissue, Buddha Records. Yeah, Captain Beefheart. Ween, Chocolate and Cheese. 90s classic. Hilarious band, talented band. This was the first of their albums I got into. And actually, this is the first one I own by them. I'd love to get. They have like. They had a run of great albums there through the 90s, so I'll fill that collection out in the future. But Chocolate and Cheese, good place to start with Ween if you guys don't listen to them or haven't, or maybe you want to give them a try. This is what I was introduced to. So, good place to start. Chocolate and Cheese. This is one of the dollar bin records I grabbed. Trina, The Baddest Bitch single, of course. This is a pretty vulgar song. Pretty vulgar, pretty good, pretty funny. This is 1994, which I was looking at that. It's earlier than I thought. Of course, white label promo. Find a lot of these still. I do, anyways. I find a lot of white label dollar bin 90s hip hop. I have a lot of them here. Maybe 30 I've just found in dollar bin. Some DJ just unloads a bunch of singles he had. He's not DJing anymore. And I don't know how many people are trying to hear Trina at the club these days. This was one of the better things I found in the dollar bin. This is why I look through the dollar records. You never know. This is Code 9, electronic musician. I had heard of Code 9, and it's in good shape, so I grabbed it. $1. This is a single called Other Man with Space Ape on vocals. This is really cool. It's got a punch out here. I was surprised to see this for $1. Beautiful condition record. This is good electronic music. I'm not a huge. I don't search out electronic music, but when I can find something like this for cheap, this is great. This is fun. I played this twice today. Yeah, it's a 45. Code 9 is a Scottish electronic musician. Very happy with this. I write notes like, hey, this is a 45, or else I'll play it, and if I'm not real familiar with the song, it'll be on 33, and until it's obvious I'm playing, you know how it is. So I just write 45 on there. I don't have to run back and switch it. This came from the same person, obviously, the double punch out here, that donated that. This is another newish used album. This one's a little more beat up, but it's very listenable. This is called Tanak. The name of the album is Villa Claustrophobia. And this I sampled on my phone quick when I was looking. I mean, probably would have grabbed it for the cover anyways for $1, but this is like weird folk. And it's kind of worldly. Like you get this. Actually, this cover does a pretty good job on some of the songs. It ranges from like American, kind of Texas sounding songs to Middle Eastern kind of stuff. It's pretty dynamic in its genre. How we pick, different genres. Kind of psych. I don't know if I'd call it psych, but weirdo folk, art folk. I was super happy for $1. Pretty good. I'd recommend it. Villa Claustrophobia. It's on YouTube. Check it out. check out the first couple songs, see what you think. Nice listen, chill music. Yeah. Alright. In that same dollar bin, I found Yes. Again, this has a punch out too, so I don't know if a lot of these came from the same person. They could have put this on the shelf for $5 because this is a pretty good condition, except for the edge there, the spine. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. That's maybe why they put it on for $1 though. The record's clean. I listened to this morning. This is quintessential Yes. Classic lineup here. Excellent. I had listened to this before, of course, but records like this, I just wait for a cheap copy. You're gonna find one. They made lots of these. You see it. Yes, Close to the Edge. Yeah. Little addition to my prog collection there. Golden Earring, Moon Tan. You see this a lot. The record's in good condition. I'm not a huge fan of this album. Of course, Radar Love is a classic, and there are a couple good songs on this. Cover's kind of dirty. Like I said, plays clean. This will probably stay in the collection until I find a nicer copy or realize I don't listen to it ever. This one will not stay in my collection. Bebop Deluxe. This is a live album. Live in the Air Age. I gave Bebop Deluxe a chance. $1. I knew they were, they're kind of bordered on like prog. This just didn't do it for me. Yeah, I think it's a little corny, but it's a nice copy. So I hope somebody, except for the cover, the writing, ringwear, it's a nice listenable copy. So I'll donate that back, and hopefully someone who likes it can enjoy it. One thing I forgot to mention with this album, when I was researching this is the Tanakh. The guy's name is Kent Poe, I believe, or something Poe, and he is a descendant and relative of Edgar Allan. Just thought that was interesting and forgot to share that with you. Last thing I grabbed from that record haul, which was I was very happy with that. I got like 8 or 9 great albums, all within under $60. A lot of them for $1. This one was not $1. This is 9 Inch Nails' newest album. I would call it an EP, but they did not. It was interesting. Trent Reznor released it and called it an LP, even though it's only 6 songs in like 30 minutes or so. But he said that EPs don't, they drop off quicker. People lose interest. They're not promoted the same. They're not, I think the algorithms on like something like Spotify or iTunes, it's not, it doesn't get the push the same as an album does. So he released this as an album. Must have worked for me because I bought it, because this is excellent. I'm a big fan of 9 Inch Nails. This is some of their better stuff I've heard in the last decade. This is dark, dark stuff, not real poppy, really good. I hear a Bowie influence on a couple of these songs, big, strong David Bowie influence. Ian Astbury sings on one of these songs, and it's just quality. Good release by 9 Inch Nails. He's been doing this stuff for 30 years. He's pretty good at it. I really like this song. I think God Break Down the Door is my favorite, but really the whole thing's good. I got this today in the mail. This is the last album I'm going to show you. reissue last month, I think, of Wire Pink Flag. Essential punk, kind of post-punk, I guess, whatever you want to call it, artsy punk. Just an all-time classic. Can't stress that enough. I know a lot of you guys know this. They released their first 3 albums just now, last month, and I do want the other 2, Chairs Missing and the third one, 157 or whatever it's called. I went with this one. It's the first one I heard by them, and I wasn't about to buy all 3 at once. I'd like to. I didn't want to spend the money at the time. But yeah. Wire, Pink Flag. Classic. Super happy to see that re-released. Good stuff. Last thing I did want to show was something my mother gave me. She's moving, and she gave me her CD copy of Pulse, 90s live Pink Floyd with the Pulse light. Now, she told me she changed the battery. It takes like a AA or something. One time, basically it blinked for 20 years for her, so it should blink like this for about 20 years. This is awesome. I haven't actually listened to this in a long, since I was younger, but it's very good, and it's a great wall piece or shelf piece. Pink Floyd Pulse. That's gonna do it for me. Hope you enjoyed, and see ya.